Captain's Log Supplemental.
Fascinating.
Aye, sir.
Live long and prosper.
But it's a mystery. I don't like mysteries. Give me a bellyache, and I got a beauty right now.
4 phases locked and ready to fire, sir.
In the hands of an adolescent.
I'm a doctor, not a mechanic.
Coolio. We got to take pictures before we split.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Then we can split.
And then we can split.
Split the atom.
Split like that.
Well, that was only 3 seconds or 4 seconds, Megan. I think you're getting better.
She's getting better, folks. She's trying. We're still
trying so hard.
Still working on it. We're hopefully by the end of at least
80
episodes, maybe she'll have this down. But meanwhile, in your face, talk to the hand.
Penguin flippers.
It's not going well.
Yeah, it's kind of hopeless.
We're gonna call it, instead of the Vulcan sloop, we're gonna call it the old Cobblepot. How you doing? That's what it's gonna be.
I'm gonna give you the old Cobblepot. Yeah. See, because really, you're only supposed to go like this. If
Right.
It's only one-handed.
Yeah.
If you're like.
We're just showing off at this point, right?
Right.
Right? Just like show up.
One hand, it's the Vulcan salute. This, it's the Cobblepot. You get Cobblepotted. But anyway, so yep,
We're back.
we're back.
Here we are.
We are here for episode 3 of Trekking Poetic or Trek-rospectives. It's getting
Epic.
Yeah.
It's getting more and more bombastic with each episode.
Totally fantastic. You like that one?
I do. It's pretty good.
Bombastic, simply fantastic. Oh my God! Did you really throw a Shaggy reference?
Fuck yeah,
in
I
there?
did, dude.
Oh
That was fucking hot shit when I was a kid, man.
yeah.
Was that 1988 or some shit?
No, it was
90?
a little later, late
Yeah, okay.
90s. Yeah, I was already an adult.
That's probably why you didn't like it, huh?
Yeah, that's why. That's what it was. That's the only reason. So yeah, we are back for another episode of Trekking Poetic, where we discuss all of the Star Trek episodes. We're doing them all in broadcast order, not filming order, to my chagrin. But I've already gone over that plenty. If you want to hear me wax on about that, watch the first or listen
Rewind.
to the first 2 episodes. So episode 3, it is the second episode that was actually aired September 15th, 1966. And what is the name of this freaking episode?
Charlie X.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Maybe one of the
No?
only times where a thing isn't better when you put an X after it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
A teenage angst melodrama? That's not...
No.
No?
No.
In space?
No.
Come on, guys.
I liked it better when it was on the Twilight Zone, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you made that point earlier. I never thought about that. This always did remind me of something, but I never had an idea of what it was, but totally reminds me of that Twilight Zone.
Can't remember the name off the top of my head. I'm sure
Well,
somebody's yelling
they
at
did
us
it
right
in
now.
Twilight Zone the
It's
movie.
the episode. It was season 5, episode 3.
And then they
Whatever
did
it
it in
was.
Twilight Zone the
Comment
movie.
below.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the movie with the kid when he with the woman that saves him, he leaves the restaurant or whatever playing the video game, and then he gets hit by the car on his
Yeah.
bike, which is that scene is funny. When that car hits him, backs into him. He's okay. We've already established.
Larry just likes watching kids getting hit
No.
on camera.
It's not that he didn't get hurt. If he got hurt, that wouldn't be funny. It's the way it happened. Just I don't know. It looks funny. I watched a lot of cartoons and Three Stooges growing up. All right, so like injuries were funny to me, you know. But anyway, yeah, and in that Twilight Zone episode, the whole thing is that you come to find out that this kid has some kind of power, psychic power, that he can manipulate everything. Basically, he can manipulate. And oh man, yeah, dude! Even when he removes their faces,
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
they do that in that Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Oh man, I never really considered how it's like the same story.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's like-
All
and then
ties
the,
together.
and then just trying to like, and then Kirk and them trying to use the whole kind of like tough fatherly love to get him to see, the error of his ways
Yeah.
and change and everything. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, as we already noted before, there's so many close ties and correlations between Twilight Zone and Outer Limits and Star Trek.
Yeah.
A lot of the same actors, same
Crew.
Universe,
And obviously
props,
props, ideas. Yeah.
storylines.
So this is yet another one. It's funny. I've never heard anybody ever bring that up. So good on you, dude.
Because I'm an intellectual, guys. That's why I'm here.
Because I'm a dummy. I'm a dummy that doesn't stop talking. And Megan's the looks.
As I scratch my eye out.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, the funny thing is, it worked much better for me on Twilight Zone.
Yeah. This one was just off the rails goofy, which I can appreciate most of the time, but this one was a little off the rocker even for me.
It was just kind of flimsy. The story was really flimsy to me, even as I was watching, and I've seen this episode before, not that many times, to be honest with you, probably because I never liked it.
Yeah.
But it just, the whole time, it just kind of felt flimsy. Like I never really, even now watching it, I was like, okay, wait, so he has this power, but why does he have this power? And do all the people that he comes from, that race of people that, well, they're not even people, they're like beings, but they don't have like a presence or whatever. Do they all do this? Do they all have that? And why did he get away in the first place? Like the whole thing just seemed a little flimsy to me. And even the ending, like it kept building up to something. Like I thought it was going to have this like epic ending.
You just take him. Like, oh, he's gone.
And then they just come back and they're like, "Oh yeah, our bad. We shouldn't have really let him out there."
Yeah, you take your eye off a kid for 2 seconds and he fucking disappears.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, "Oh yeah, he can't be out there with you guys. We're sorry about all that. We know he blew up that ship and everything. Our bad. So he's gonna come back with us." And
That's that.
And it's just funny because I feel like at the end of the episode, oh, by the way, are we supposed to sit here and say spoilers? Because, I mean, seriously, if you people don't figure there's going to be fucking spoilers when we're talking about this 53-year-old show, I mean. But getting to the end of the episode when he's pleading, like, don't let me go back to them, I felt a pang of sympathy for him because it's like, yeah, that's gotta suck. I mean, it explains why he had no manners. He had no
social skills or whatever.
No, can't touch.
He had no social skills. He didn't know how to deal with people because even though he was a person, it was, he may as well have been Tarzan of the jungle, essentially, because being cut off from normal civilization kind of thing. But I didn't feel as much empathy for him at the end as I should have. I just was like, fucking kill this dude. I'm sick of him. He's a dick. I'm sick of listening to this guy whine. And
Like, look at me. I want all the attention. Look at me.
Yeah. It's like, stop singing. You're taking away attention from my card tricks.
Fucking idiot.
I just exactly.
I like when he's got the cards, he's shuffling. Is it Yeoman Janice? I keep calling her Yeoman Janice. Yeah. And she's like, oh, that's sweet, honey. That's sweet. Hey, you whore, sing some more. And he's like, I'm showing you a goddamn card trick right here. You're going to blow me off like that? I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was so fucking funny, man.
Yeah. I just, again, like we talked about in the last episode, talking about the man trap, there's a lot of there's still a lot of chauvinistic behavior and things that go on, even kind of in Kirk's not taking it seriously when Yeoman Rand first comes to him and says Charlie's acting inappropriately, smacked me on the butt, I don't know how I feel. And Kirk's just kind of like, wow, he's
just a kid.
17-year-old boy. I mean, if it was me, I'd be trying to, lay my hot dog between your buns. I mean, he just smacked you. It's, just give him a little leeway. Give him a little leeway. And I'm just like, oh, God. Yeah, that wouldn't fly these
Well,
days.
wouldn't fly is another man grabbing some other dude's ass if he's not playing a football game, right? Like if you're just fixing like the plumbing on the ship, would you go smack some dude on the ass because you're like, yeah, that's a cool thing.
dude.
Yeah, like
I know dudes that do that, but
like I've only seen that like as an acceptable form of like a manly thing on the football field, not like when you're on the ship or
just when you're
Right?
testosterone filled and you're like, yeah.
yeah.
Well, the point is
I
it shouldn't be right at all, no matter whether you're man or woman. It's not right. But I mean, just again, it was interesting. I mean, at least it did, to some degree, there was it was being addressed, and then they made an issue out of it. But it was just kind of funny that it was like she had to go through a lot of shit before they finally were like, "Oh,
Did
okay,
something about
this
it.
is a problem." It's like, yeah, it's been a problem.
Like, I've been telling you.
Yeah, it's been a problem, guys. Maybe you should take it more seriously, But in any case, so that's still the progressiveness in terms of women equality and stuff. Still very much had a long way to go on Star Trek, as it did in real life, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. I guess. So again, this episode was not meant to be the second episode ever aired. That's not the way Roddenberry and them intended it, but it was aired because it was one of the only ones that was completed, right?
Well, kind of like for the man trap and stuff, it was fastly completed because it was all done on the ship. There was no exterior like pictures of the ship. There's no other planets involved. It was all on the ship, so they could easily slap it together.
Right.
And it was a whiny kid, so.
And talking about slapping stuff together, what is with those random plumbing pipe tiles just plastered on the hull? Yeah. What's up with that?
It was called Cheap and Easy.
And there's plumbers actually working on those pipes.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have that in Next Gen, man. I'm just saying.
Well, you're tough.
That would have been contained in a Jeffries tube, not out on the main deck of the ship.
Speaking of that.
Yeah, you just learned an interesting fact about the Jeffries tube.
Which I guess probably most Trek people knew, Trekkies, whatever, knew, and it never occurred to me, is the guy who was responsible for the original design and everything of the Enterprise and all that stuff's last name was Jeffries.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
And so that's why, because I always wondered why they called it the Jeffries tubes. I never knew. I figured it was a reference to somebody, but I didn't know it was a reference to a real life person, the guy who designed the ship. And it's like, well, that's why it's the Jeffries tubes, because you designed that shit. You got to call it something.
Yeah.
Not the lube tubes or anything like that.
Yeah, I didn't want to call it the lube tube.
That's what Charlie was thinking about.
Right?
He's like, so, but
we can't keep anything clean.
no, it's impossible.
And again, in this episode, like the Man Trap, they do those zoom in close up shots where it's just the guy's face for like 3 seconds. I can't stand that. I hope they don't continue doing that in the rest of the season.
The zoom ins and stuff. There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Just wait till we get to the Enemy Within with crazy split personality Kirk and stuff, and it's just his sweaty face all the time screaming.
All right, I think I've seen clips of that then.
I'm Captain Kirk!
Yeah, okay.
It's like, oh my God.
But the one zoom up close up shot I did like was the
that one with that look and he's got.
Dude.
I know. The brow shot.
Yeah, dude. Holy shit,
Oh,
man.
it's totally gonna be our thumbnail.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
totally.
my God.
Because I'm gonna zoom in on myself when I just did that a couple times.
Yep.
We gotta do it for each one of us, so we zoom in.
Oh, we're doing it on the prayer.
Oh yeah, fucking Undertaker
Already thought
eyes
about
and
it.
those eyebrows, dude.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, this episode was actually supposed to be aired instead of September. It's supposed to be aired in November, which is why they talk about the turkeys in the ovens.
Okay,
Okay, that makes sense. And also, isn't it the voice of
Over the intercom is Gene Roddenberry. It's
Yeah.
the only occurrence on the
Really?
show. Yep.
Yep, only time Roddenberry was
No shit.
on the show was his voice talking about the turkeys and the food replicators and stuff.
Yeah, they're real turkeys.
so his wife had more to do with the show than he did, I guess.
Oh, Michelle Barrett. Oh, well, in terms of actually acting and stuff and
Yeah.
everything, very much so. She's great. Like I said, as I stated back in episode 1, her as number 1 was killer. But then later she comes on as
Yeah, 'cause she's not back yet. Right?
no, Nurse Chapel doesn't come in, I think, yet. When does Chapel come in, actually? I don't remember her being in this episode. Was she?
Well, she's in the naked time.
She's in the Naked Time, yes. Know that.
So it's got to be soon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well,
We'll
maybe,
find
you know
out, I
what?
guess.
Actually, come to think of it, I think she is. I get so confused now because watching these out of proper sequence,
Mm-hmm.
to me, it's like I forget when people...
Show
Oh, she's
up
got to be in there because in the original filming, Naked Time was an earlier episode, so Chapel has to be there by now. I should know this. Sorry, folks. They're going to be like, of course she is.
Yeah, we just watched them. I don't know why. I can't.
Yeah, well, okay,
Picture her
here's
for
the thing,
sure.
folks. You're
I
going to
think
have...
when they're in sickbay, I think it was just McCoy when he's doing that leg press machine,
Yeah.
right?
that
Those-
thing.
dude.
They don't have those at Planet
No, they
Fitness.
I forgot to mention, actually, going back to the man trap for a second.
Yeah.
They had made all these futuristic looking salt shakers for him
Right.
for that episode, and they thought it was recognizable, so they actually made him McCoy's doctor's tools.
That's funny.
And that's what he used from then on.
Right. So if anybody watching was like, what's with those things that look like salt shakers? It's because they are.
They are.
It's what they're supposed
You
to be.
dumb.
But I mean, getting back for a minute to the whole thing with Charlie and his stupid powers, his illogical, nonsensical powers, his Twilight Zone powers. I guess it was supposed to be that the aliens gave him those powers as a means to survive and everything, but I don't know. I don't understand why when those aliens show up and they communicate with the ship at the end, they seem pretty rational. You know what I mean?
Is that the floating green head?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not to be confused with Plastic Green Head by Trouble. Doom metal band extraordinaire. The floating green head race. The people that Charlie X came from. They seemed, from that little bit of interaction, they seemed pretty, rational, easy to talk to, easy to.
Maybe they finished going through puberty.
But I mean, I just don't understand if they gave them those powers. It's like they seem to be like aware enough of things of like they we realized that what he did was wrong when he blew up that ship and this and that and blah blah blah, blah, and that's why we got to. It's like, so you guys didn't do a better job of like raising this fucking fool.
Well, it may be just like in the cage where they're like they didn't know how humans went together. They don't know how to raise a human
To interact.
They're not
Yeah.
human.
I suppose.
That's a good point.
I don't know. I'm
'Cause they
sure
can't
that's
touch-
what
he
it is.
Can't touch them, so they don't know how to make interaction and stuff. And how you should
Yeah.
properly
Yeah.
integrate with other humans.
I get it. It just to me, I don't know. It just still feels
I think
flimsy.
instead of taking Charlie, just letting him go, that maybe the two races could have worked together to integrate him into the human races better.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's why the whole thing
At that point.
the whole thing just felt flimsy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then again, at the same time, we'll see throughout the show that there's plenty of instances where we go, couldn't the two races have worked together to kind of make this work out a lot smoother? And it's like, nope.
There's no time, Jim.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no
he,
way.
He could have been the Wesley of the original series.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Can you imagine?
Where
Can you
these two
imagine?
They were working together
No,
to
Megan.
integrate him.
Can you imagine?
I can't imagine. I'm trying to tell you.
No,
It's an
but
ongoing thing where they're trying to integrate him, and he keeps like, "Oh, he fucked up again. He slapped Yeoman again."
this time he was trying to give a little sharsh barge in the buttocks to Nurse Chapel. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
He
that
exposed
Charlie.
himself in 10 Forward before 10 Forward existed,
But Charlie's our new darling.
Well, this was the
what are you
first.
gonna
This was the first instance of 3D chess, correct?
Yes.
do? Oh.
I did not know that came from the original series. I thought that was a next gen thing.
Oh, really? You
Yeah, I didn't know
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was.
I guarantee there's people out there that play 3D chess, correct?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure,
Right?
absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All
No,
right.
it's a game.
Okay.
Yeah, that shit's legit.
Okay. But it was made up on Star Trek.
I
correct?
believe so,
Yeah,
yes. I think so.
I'm going with it.
Yeah.
I did like the effect, though, of the melted chess pieces. I thought that was actually really cool.
I'm not saying the whole episode is garbage. There are some episodes of Trek that are kind of garbagey, but oh God, it just reminded me of a future episode. Do you remember the one with the kids when they get all those kind of prepubescent, preteen kids when they all do that thing with their hand?
Oh,
Ching,
yeah.
ching, ching. They do that thing and then they make people like get like headaches and stuff, and finds out that they have this like invisible leader who's like an alien. It's an alien, but he appears to them as kind of like this fatherly, godlike figure that's like telling them to, to take over the ship. And
That's funny.
even when I was a kid and I saw that episode, I fucking hated that episode. I hated those bastard kids so much. But anyways, to me, that's a garbage episode. This isn't a garbage episode. It's just a deeply flawed episode. And this episode, by no means, should have been the second episode aired. What?
Okay. Stay with me.
Okay.
Keep it the second episode aired. Again, use it as a jumping off point. Maybe make the kid not so fucking annoying. And you'd feel better about this. But Wesley was pretty annoying too. He had his moment. Shut up, Wesley. Shut up, Vito.
Yeah, he did.
So,
but-
and then use that as a building off point. He could have been our first Wesley. And could have worked with the other species and stuff from the get-go. And
Maybe. But the
that
way
would make more sense having this be the second one.
Yeah.
To introduce that character.
I understand your point. I understand what you're saying. But as far as I'm concerned, at the end when Charlie disappears, I was like, oh, thank fucking God.
It's a missed opportunity.
I
They did it. They had, I don't know.
I
Could
think
have gone somewhere with this, and they did this instead with it.
I think him having those powers and what he used the powers for, to me, leaves him irredeemable. Like, I could not see him continue on in the series. If he
Right.
didn't have the powers and he was just some annoying kid because he didn't know how to socialize, then yeah, I'd totally be on board with that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They could have gone a different direction with
Yeah.
this character completely, and instead that we got this.
Right.
Well, then later in season 2, we got Chekhov, who was supposed to kind of be that younger,
Yeah.
more
Appeal
naive,
to the younger kids.
younger, naive, kind of wet behind the ears,
Yeah.
character. So, I mean, they did sort of go for that later, but yeah, thankfully, as far as I'm concerned, the fact that they didn't make Brutal Brow a regular character on there, I'm okay with that, because I was done with him.
Yeah.
Nothing against the actor himself, but I just was
He
like,
did a good job of making us hate him.
yes, he
Which
did.
a good actor should do, right?
Yeah.
He did his job.
Yeah, he did. But I mean, speaking for me, if we want to get into my little ratings kind of thing, if it's great, real good, poor, or just shite. For me, this is poor.
Yeah, I agree. Poor.
Could have been better. And especially now, it's funny, like realizing similarities to that Twilight Zone episode actually made me dislike this episode even more, because the Twilight Zone one was so much it was pulled off so much better, you know.
Now, did that one come first, or did that come
That would have
second?
came first, I think.
Come first,
right?
okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I'd rate this one as okay. I actually like this one better than the Man Trap just because of the absurdity of it.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's not what I expected you to say.
Yeah, I know. Because I laughed out loud more in this one than I did at the Man Trap.
Yeah,
So-
that's fair. I mean, they are two completely different kinds of stories. I mean, for people that were watching this that had no, didn't know what Star Trek was, it was just a brand new show. To go from the Man Trap to this, it had to definitely be like, wow,
Whoa.
that's a big difference. That's a major, major difference.
But serious question, Megan. Kirk in the pajama Starfleet pants in that judo room. Sexy or not sexy?
No.
Not
I
sexy?
never liked those. Him in tights. And I don't think he wore tights very often after this. Like once or twice after this. He's like, no more. I'm not doing tights anymore.
It's so funny when you watch, it's interesting when you watch things like this, and you see the physical differences between then and now, and like what's considered for both men and women, what's considered
Physically fit.
and sexy. Well, he was physically
Yeah, he
fit.
He was, yeah.
He was
Sometimes
strong. I mean, he
real
was
fucking good.
he was in shape, but he was so much. That isn't the kind of body style that people nowadays.
No. Well, it's
would
like the
say-
Superman comparison, too. Like the
Right.
dad bod Superman versus the Henry Cavill Superman or
Right.
whatever. Same with WWE or whatever.
Sure,
You know?
sure. Yeah, but it's just interesting seeing that, because it's funny when you watch that and you think about how, like, in '66, I mean, like, that Shatner, like that, like women were like, whoa, like when
yeah.
he had that shirt off, and now people look at it and they're like, oh, he.
If they could just show him from the waist up, that would have been great. Those tights killed it for me.
Yeah,
I was like watching the screen so I could just see the top half.
it's just funny, But yeah. So I mean, okay. So you thought it was good. I said it was leaning more towards poor.
I would give it an okay.
like an okay. And what about you?
I said it was poor as well.
You said poor. Okay, so
It's one of my least favorite episodes.
yeah, lower middling. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's all the time we need to really focus on this
And
one.
that's all for that one.
I mean, it was what it was. Where did we go? So, well, after this, we get into the next episode we're going to do is going to be episode 4 that was released. And that's Where No Man Has Gone Before, which was the
Original-
not
or
trailer.
second.
I'm sorry,
The second pilot.
second pilot, rather, not trailer. Second pilot that was made, and that's like I've already talked about. That's going to be interesting, because then we take a big step back in a lot of ways
Curveball.
in terms of production and look and vibe and interaction and everything. So that'll be interesting, but we will save that for another time.
Coming up next.
Coming up soon. Yeah, we're going to be, as we said, we're going to try to keep these episodes coming out pretty regularly. We want to keep hearing from you guys what you think of this. Hopefully you're digging it. Definitely share it around with all your other Trek buddies and gal pals and everybody else in between, because we want discussion here. We want to know what you guys think. Make sure you post on our social media, leave comments, and the YouTube comments, or on iTunes and Spotify and all that kind of stuff. As always, we're doing this for the love of the hobby of the, we're just geeks that are in love with this stuff. We're not doing this for money, but if anybody chooses to support us through Patreon, any even meager amount is super helpful, because it does cost money to make this, and to keep this going. So if you want to help us, we are super grateful. And even if you don't, if you're just like, no, sorry, I got nothing to give you, but
That's cool. Just tell people.
it's cool. Yeah, just
Spread
about
us
it, yeah.
around.
Yeah.
just spread it around. like.
And make sure you subscribe and click on the notification bell.
Yeah.
Very important, guys.
Pretty please.
Yeah. Because this show is like peanut butter, butter, brother, butter.
I love me
Peanut
some
butter.
peanut butter, man.
Oh, my God. I
know.
really want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich right
Ooh,
now.
Oh man, that sounds real good.
fuck yeah. I can always go for peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Spreading it around like peanut butter.
Spreading it everywhere.
Oh, that's both gross and dirty.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're getting some.
I don't even want to know.
Just stop
Yeah.
before we get out of control.
Yeah, but we will be back soon with episode 4, where we talk about the second pilot. That is episode 3 for some stupid reason. Whatever. But on that note, you gonna try it one last time? Can you do it?
2, 3.
She's getting there.
All right.
She's getting there.
This one's a little cockeyed, but it's there.
So it's not quite live long and prosper. It's like do well
Live
for a
long
while.
and
Do well for a while, all right? You'll be all right for a while. That's kind of so. All right. Yeah, we'll be back soon. So, see you all soon.
See ya.
Bye.
This communication has ended.